Okay.
Always deferring to others.
I know. Okay, sorry. We are back. We tried to do this a minute ago when we were sideways, and Paul's teenage son helped us fix our technical difficulties.
In about 2 seconds.
In about 2 seconds. And then he was like, "Are you streaming live to YouTube?" And we were like, "Facebook." And he looked at us with disapproval. So anyway, we are recapping the second presidential debates. Our new tradition is that Paul hosts a debate party. We have some drinks.
One more to go.
So yeah, we just finished watching. I guess we should introduce ourselves. I'm Kristen Howerton. I blog at Rage Against the Minivan.
I'm Paul Martin. I blog at Paulosophia.
Paul and I are old friends. We are political junkies. I am a Democrat.
I'm a Republican, barely.
Barely. He said, barely hanging on Republican, which I feel like is a lot of Republicans right about now.
Right.
Especially this week.
And yeah, it truly is it's a time unlike any other.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the senator of Ohio, you have Mitt Romney, you have John McCain, you have Condoleezza Rice.
It is a mass exodus right now.
And I want to say to many people out there on the left who have contempt for evangelicals and Republicans, give us some credit, because you have seen Republicans en masse in the last 24 hours. I think way too late.
I agree.
But nonetheless, en masse, saying we will not tolerate this guy as our nominee.
Yeah. People here, in addition to also being political friends, we're in a band, and the band is practicing in the next room. So
we got a lot going on.
If you hear Ring of Fire, that's the band who's angry at us because we're not in there practicing.
So we'll make this quick. We will
spare
you the pain.
Okay, so I feel like, the debate was the debate, but I feel like we have to talk first about this tape that was leaked, where Trump was basically talking in, completely disrespectful terms about a woman. He was talking about trying to sleep with a married woman. He was talking about being a celebrity and his ability to just grab women. I feel like that was sort of the death knell for Donald Trump with the conservative, right?
Yeah. It was already looking pretty bleak for him.
Yeah.
But I take his comment not only as disrespectful as a man, as a Republican man, not only as insensitive, not only as locker room banter, but I take it as outright abusive. He said, I would like to grab women in certain parts of their bodies, but I do grab women in certain parts of their bodies.
Right.
And that's a crime.
Right.
It is a crime to grab any human being. But he was speaking specifically about the power he has as a billionaire, and about how, because of that power, he abuses it and physically abuses women, and it's intolerable.
I thought it was interesting because I heard about the comments that Trump made, but I didn't actually watch the video until today. And it was interesting to me to watch the video. What I found the most offensive was just the treatment of the woman that was in the video. I think that she was taking him on a backlot tour. And, having been in those situations where suddenly as a woman you walk into a professional situation and instead of being treated like an equal, you're immediately sexualized is such a terrible feeling. And I think most women have experienced that. But, just watching that happen and knowing, this is his character. This is what he does to women. He sizes them up. He looks at them as potential conquests or not, and then treats them from there. That's even his daughter. That's how he talks about his daughter. It's gross.
I think so. And I just think there's a certain numbness because of who this person is.
Yeah.
And who this person has been in the public sphere for 12 months or more. It's intolerable. What he said, it's not only disturbing, but I've been in locker rooms. I hang around guys. I'm a guy's guy in many ways, but I've never heard anybody boast in my most disgusting locker room conversations that I've heard about. That's criminal.
Yeah. And tonight he addressed it, and I feel like he just sort of leaned on that's what got, people talk that way. He was kind of using the royal we, people do that, people talk like that. I don't think they do. I mean, I'm sure some people do. I don't want to be in those circles.
Yeah.
Certainly don't want those people leading my country.
Yeah, and it's interesting how he pivoted to Bill Clinton, and this has been a big thing. And I mean, say what you want about Bill Clinton. Whatever he did was consensual, as a matter of fact. Mm-hmm. Nobody ever accused him while he was president of abusing his power, grabbing because he's president. And the second point of that is that Trump's running against Hillary, not against
I mean,
Bill
that's
Clinton.
the bigger thing. It's like whatever Bill did is completely irrelevant. No woman should have to stand judge for the ridiculous behavior of her husband. I mean, really.
Yeah, Deborah says, help me understand why so many women are defending him because Hillary didn't handle Bill's infidelity with grace. They would have. And that's just as a man. I'm not a woman. But I guess it's party affiliation. But why would any woman still continue to defend, given what we've all heard in the last 48 hours? I
don't know. And I think, it's interesting. Matt Walsh, who is a very conservative Christian, I don't even know. I mean, he's a blogger, but, kind of a thought leader in certain circles. And I tend to disagree with everything he says. But he did say today, he's like, Christians, you cannot defend this. You can't. I mean, if you continue to defend this, our band leader's walking out and giving us a stern look because he wants us to be in there practicing and not out here talking about politics. Anyway, and apparently he had to pee. So there you go. Anyway, he was even saying, this guy that I tend to disagree with on everything politically was saying, like, Christians, you can't do this. You cannot defend him. If you defend him, you are showing us to be hypocrites.
One of the things, I watched all 3 morning programs today, Meet the Press, This Week, and Face the Nation. I did watch all 3. I'm that kind of nerd, only on special occasions.
Of course you did.
But one of the things that, the smartest people in our country that think about and talk about these things is that there will be a fracture, or perhaps there will not be a Republican Party as a result. And these are what high-level people are thinking. There is such a split right now in the Republican Party. And that's kind of a big deal because the party's been around since the mid-1800s.
I mean, I will say, and maybe I shouldn't think this way as the opposing party, but I kind of hope that this is a come-to-Jesus meeting for the Republican Party and that they can sort of clarify what they're for and what they're against, and maybe clarify more what they're for, because I feel that the Republican Party has been more about what they're against than what they're for a while. But I'm kind of hoping this will clarify and sort of make Republicans band together and go, okay, we are not that.
Yeah.
We are not whatever that was.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
so the debate. Let's talk the debate.
Well, I mean, once again, you saw Trump, seeming gruff, seeming antagonistic. I mean, he seemed to want to attack Hillary more than he wanted to talk about any of the issues.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I mean, I thought he was, all things relative, I thought he did a good job.
For Trump?
Yeah, I mean, in as much as he didn't lose it, he wasn't unhinged.
True.
And it seemed like Hillary was playing the game
Yeah.
to just not fumble the ball.
Yeah.
She just seemed to be sitting there, I'm not going to make a mistake.
Yeah.
The pundits on, the news channels are saying it was a tie. Perhaps.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, perhaps I think he may have even come out a little bit ahead, but there are going to be a lot of news clips of him, I think, especially with respect to his comment, just reducing it to that's the way men talk in the locker room, because they don't.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting when Hillary pointed out the things that, Trump should probably apologize for. And then they sent a question to her about the emails, and she took ownership for it. She said it was a mistake. She said, I wouldn't do that again. And I felt that she handled that with a lot of grace.
Yeah.
Because it was a mistake. She did make a mistake.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. There was a point where Trump kind of yelled at Hillary, like, let's get off this topic. And then he went back in on her on the same topic. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, at this point, I think the election is over.
Yeah.
I don't think he has a chance to win.
I hope not.
I think any draw is in her benefit. You have Rob Portman, the senator of Ohio, saying he will not vote for Donald Trump.
Yeah. John McCain.
John McCain.
That's a big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, I think our country's in shock. I really do. I think we're all reeling from...
Yeah.
Is it true that a nominee for President of the United States just made those kinds of comments?
Right. Right.
And we all have thoughts. We all blunder in different ways. But was he really saying that he gropes women and he can't control himself from sexually violating them?
Right.
Are we really having this conversation?
Right.
And I know many Republicans out there want to pivot to Bill Clinton or Hillary in Benghazi or whatever.
Well, that's what we call deflection.
Right. I mean, as a Republican, a lifelong Republican, a solid, steadfast Republican, the thought that we are entertaining, in spite of his win tonight if he won, that we are truly entertaining.
Yeah. And that's what I mean about come to Jesus. I mean, I think what the country needs after this is a little sit down of like, how do we get here, and what are we doing, and what kind of evangelical hypocrisy, what kind of politics over Christ, what kind of misogyny, what kind of xenophobia, what are we hosting here that allowed this to fester and grow? Because it's not just that Trump is a deplorable person. It's, to steal a term from Hillary, all of these people who have supported him in the face of this.
Yeah. And I blogged on October 6th of 2015, and I wrote 10 quotes of Donald Trump, and I literally just quoted him saying, you've got to treat women like shit, and the Japs are buying up Manhattan. And I quoted that, and at the end I said, you evangelicals who are voting for Trump, read these off to your children and then justify how you're voting for them. And I still marvel. For those of you that aren't believers, plug your ears for a second. How is it that we have gotten to this place where we have chosen that over basic character and basic goodness? And yet we have. Ralph Reed came out after those comments and said, I will nonetheless support Donald Trump because he will appoint... wagon wheel happening in the background.
I know.
It's all good.
Well, and I know. I mean, and I feel like that is the sort of last thread of delusion that I think people on the right are holding on to, is this idea that, well, I'm just going to vote for him for who he appoints to the Supreme Court justice, which at the end of the day is about abortion, right? And maybe Second Amendment rights, which nobody's going to take your guys' guns away. Chill out.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And Hillary is only against banning assault rifles and people from going to gun shows and being able to buy guns. I mean, she's for the Second Amendment. And also on the abortion issue, and this is where it just gets so perplexing, I just can't imagine anybody realistically thinking we should overturn Roe versus Wade. It would not work. It would explode. Abortions would not be reduced. And to reduce everything about morality and ethics to the pro-life issue, to me, and I'm pro-life. I am as radically as I could be, and you are too.
Well, I
in terms of
personally
keeping life.
Pro-life.
Keeping
and I
life.
want to see abortions reduced. But I don't think abortion should go back to being illegal.
But this whole idea of the moral majority, the Christians, the Republicans are for character counts, that's gone. The Republicans on the right do not care about character if they're supporting Donald Trump.
No.
You've never had a candidate like this before.
And that's where, again, I feel like this election has really revealed that this marriage between evangelicals and the Republican Party is not necessarily about morality.
And you talked about nationalism, too.
And nationalism is a big issue. Big issue. Yeah. Well, I mean, what else happened in the debate that you think was notable?
I thought it was pretty meh. I thought it was bland.
Yeah, we were all watching it just a little bored.
Yeah.
I mean, towards the end.
Right. I thought Hillary deliberately played to not fumble the ball. It seemed like she wasn't throwing herself out there. She seemed like she was just kind of watching the clock.
Well, it's kind of, I mean, I'm going to try to use the sports analogy, which is weird, but for me. But, it is kind of like, rather than playing, all she really has to do is stand back and let him hang himself. I mean, she doesn't have to go forward with the ball. She just needs to stand back and let him totally screw the whole thing up.
There are parts of me, too. I mean, he talked about, if I become president, I'm going to set up a special prosecutor and throw her in jail. And there's just a part of this Benghazi, there's a part of this this email. She sat for 11 hours before a Republican committee These are our nation's smartest, shrewdest, most clever lawyers who went through every bit of evidence. Republicans to try to prosecute her.
Right.
She sat for 11 hours, answered every single one of their questions.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, there was nothing there.
Yeah.
And in spite of the fact that, these buzzwords like Benghazi and even the email scandal, James Comey is a Republican. He's the head of the FBI. He's a remarkably respected Republican in Washington, D.C. He's a Republican. There was no criminal activity, whether you like it or not.
Right.
And so this idea that we're going to lock her up,
I know.
it's theatrical. It sounds good. It makes for good sound bites. But, we know how to prosecute. We did it with Nixon. When there is a smoking gun, we know how to go after people, but there has to be the evidence.
Right.
And with her, there isn't the evidence.
If there was the evidence, she'd be prosecuted already. It would have happened. Enough people wanted her. I mean, the stakes are so high.
Right.
She would be prosecuted if there was evidence.
And that's where Trump has done a great job with conspiracy theories. He did it tonight over and over again, saying she's getting more time. You watch that debate, and you watch how many times Martha Raddatz and Anderson Cooper said to her, your time is up.
So many times.
Your time is up.
Yeah.
And yet he kept saying over and over again,
Yeah.
it's really interesting how you cut me short. And he's done a great job of aligning, he's a victim, and the media is part of the group that is persecuting him.
But his constituents love that narrative. He's the persecuted, he's the underdog, he's the guy who tells it like it is.
Yeah.
Well, he told it like it is on video this week, this week that we heard, and it's. I don't think that's the kind of tell it like it is that we want.
Yeah, I'm as a Republican, and I know I'm in good company with many of our heroes, including Condoleezza Rice this weekend, who said unequivocally, after whiskey, Italy.
We can't use big words anymore.
and the generals that she can't support him, but
unequivocally.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't.
You can't either. Please.
Unequivocal. I can't answer it.
But I don't want that guy in charge of our military.
No.
And, we're going to blow these boats out of the water because they provoked us.
Yeah.
I want my kids and grandkids to be around. And she ain't perfect. We know she ain't perfect.
Okay, I have to ask you, what did you think about, because if you don't know, Paul is the leader of the Christian Muslim Alliance. So what did you think about the conversation and the questions put to Trump about his desire to, keep Muslims out of America?
I think she did a brilliant job, and I think it was a great opportunity for Trump to say that, we're all the same. Whether we're Muslims or whether we're Christians or whether we're Hindus or whether we're Mormons, we want a roof over our head, we want food on our table, we want our kids to have a better life than we had. And had he just said that and said, I want to be against terrorism, I want to let people who are decent people into our country, I think he could have done so well.
Yeah.
But instead, he just went back to the old-fashioned, fear-based. And then she, I think, did the perfect thing.
I thought so, too.
Which is she talked about the boy in Syria. She talked about these refugees. These are people who are Muslims who are fleeing a Muslim country because they have no home. And I don't understand just why he couldn't say something a little bit more moderate. Like, we know these are good people, and we want to make sure that, they're vetted. But I thought he dropped the ball.
I did, too. He's not going to answer that question well because his views are terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my nephew Austin just said, and then he talks about inner cities instead. Not this,
I don't know how she can keep so poised. This is a woman that's given 35 years of her life right out of law school to helping. She gave the commencement address at Wesleyan College. This is a woman who, in her youth group in Chicago, saw Martin Luther King Jr. and her life was transformed to work for the poor and the marginalized. And I don't know how she can sit there and listen to him talk about how he's for African Americans and keep her composure.
I don't know.
Because he discriminated against them, and he settled 2 federal lawsuits because they were discriminating.
Yeah.
And she's able to just, that's
I think
polish.
I think that's training, and I think that's, it's her internal filter going, don't let your face show what you want. What you want to say with your face, don't show it. Yeah. Anyway, well, it was an interesting debate. I thought the beginning was more interesting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm walking away going, I don't really know that I heard a ton of policy come out of of either of them. The
Yeah.
Obamacare conversation was a little interesting.
Yeah. And she kept going. And again, I don't think many people supporting him think, but what she was saying that if you repealed Obamacare on day one,
Right.
what about all the people with pre-existing conditions?
Right.
And she was appealing to those millions of people.
Yeah.
She knows a thing or two about healthcare,
Yeah.
saying, all right, great, you're going to appeal Obamacare, but
Right.
what about all the people that have diabetes? She said specifically
Right.
diabetes, and she mentioned other illnesses.
Yeah.
And, of course, all he could say is, it's horrible. And
Yeah.
what's his big word? It's disaster.
It's a disaster.
It's just a
He
disaster.
said that
Everything's
quite
a
a few
disaster.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was ridiculous. All right, well, anything else of note in the debate?
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, I see Clinton campaign right now as they're going to win.
Yeah.
At this point, I think they're just playing it safe. They're
Yeah.
going to ride it out. They're winning in the swing states, and
I want to say something about the undecided voters. I'm sort of laughing at how it's the undecided voters that get invited to talk in the town hall, and the undecided voters that were, polled after the last debate. Like, who are these people who have not made a decision
That's
yet?
a great
Like,
point.
and why are we giving them the stage? Like, I don't know. I was watching that going like, I feel like you guys are just faking it because you wanted to ask a question on national TV. Like, how do you not know yet who you're going to vote for? But anyway.
a lot of great comments. Her composure. Michelle says her composure is amazing.
Yeah.
It seemed like she's just going to let it happen.
Yeah.
She was just going to
That's
let
all
it go.
she has to do.
Yeah.
That's all she has to do. I'm just telling you, is just stand back and let him hang himself. Yeah.
He seemed like he was on heavy doses of Xanax, too, to me.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he
Or
did seem
something
chill.
else.
He seemed chill. He seemed like there were points where I thought in his mind he's saying, don't say anything because all of your handlers told you not to say anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any other good comments?
Lots of good comments. Rob Portman, I'm a Republican. Rob Portman is a homophobe. Watch it implode. It's going to be...
Yeah.
I think things are going to be calmer from here on out. I just don't think there's anything he could do or say to redeem himself. And the band wants it.
Dad is...
Take me away. And
Thanks
our
for
drummer's
watching.
now on the bass.
Oh, no.
Oh.
That's always a bad thing. That's always a bad thing.
Chad knows what to get...
And we're ready.
How to get Paul to move. Apparently our
You want me
drummer...
to do harmony? I'll do harmony.
Our drummer is playing bass,
I'm doing harmony.
and Chad's about to try to sing harmony,
Harmony now.
which is basically what's going to get Paul and I to move.
We'll see you in about a week or so.
We'll see you in a week. The next debate is October 19th, so we'll probably film like once in between then, and then for sure we'll do this recap after the next debate. So I hope you guys will join us. And we are being called now to go practice. If you, I will do a little plug here since we're talking about it. Paul and I are a part of something called Beer and Hymns. If you are in the Southern California area, it's super fun. We just get together with friends. We drink and sing old school hymns, like what you sang when you were growing up, some from church camp and some from church. It is October 23rd. We are at Jack's in Newport Beach this month, and we are doing a country after party this time. So we sing hymns, and then we do after parties, and the after parties are just kind of like all skate karaoke. Like everyone's had a lot to drink by then, and just everyone sings at the top of their lungs. So we're doing Achy Breaky Heart. I have to say I was outvoted because I did not want to do the country after party.
But it's blowing up.
But I will concede it's super fun. We're doing Ring of Fire. We're doing Jesus Take the Wheel. What else are we singing?
Low Places.
Friends in Low Places.
Achy Breaky Heart.
Achy Breaky Heart. Yeah, it's going to be really fun. So if you're in the Southern California area, October 23rd.
Or fly in if you're not.
Yeah, or fly in. It's big enough. But you should join us for Beer and Hymns and the country after party. It's actually a lot of fun. All right, we will post this to our blogs.
Thanks for watching, and
Thanks
thanks
for
for the great
joining
comments.
us.
All good stuff.
Bye.